Hi friends, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. So I initially was not planning on doing this video till the end of the year, but here we are, and I thought it might make sense to do a little bit of an update to my makeup inventory, like a mid-year check-in, if you will. I know it's technically almost August, but we are going to ignore that factoid. I'm going to be taking you through my spreadsheet, and we are going to talk about my numbers and my changes and goals and all of that good stuff. Hopefully there's not as much vocal fry in this one, and I'm getting better at regulating that. So anyway, having said that, let's get started. I am going to start off with my skincare, and I'm about to tell on myself. This is still a problem category for me, and I have tried to get this down. I did get this down to, I want to say like 7 or 8 a couple months ago, but then I got the Laneige set for my Sephora birthday gift, so that brought in 2 things. And then I just did a Sephora order and I picked up some skincare for that as well. My local Sephora really doesn't carry a good selection of the ordinary products outside of like their most basic and most popular. So a lot of the things that I want, I do have to order online because I don't do Sephora orders that often. I try to really make them worth my time, and I try to anticipate what I'm going to need like 3 to 4 months down the line, because especially heading back to school, I know I'm not going to have like any spare money. So I want to make sure that I have my skincare bases covered for the next couple months. So unfortunately, I've gone back up to 10. However, having said that, like 3 to 4 of these I think are going to be done within the next 4 to 6 weeks, so I'm hoping this will get down a little bit more. Generally, I really try not to do backups, but unfortunately for this category, it is sometimes necessary as far as like skincare is a necessity. So yeah, ideally, I would like to get this down to like 6-ish, but I know it's probably going to take a little while before that happens, and I need to consider things and do a little bit more like streamlining. I definitely don't need 2 cleansers, and I definitely don't need multiples of some of these things, but it is what it is for right now. This is kind of a Project Pan spoiler, but I am now down to 1 item. I started the year off with 3. I had a tinted moisturizer and a foundation, and I finished both of them. So we are now down to my Bare Minerals Mineral Veil, which, as far as I've heard, this doesn't really expire, so I'm not really in any rush to finish it up. I would, if I had to guess, I'd estimate that I've used maybe half of it. I've had it for a while. This is a category that I'm okay with not having any liquid foundations. I'm still not entirely sure what the mask situation is going to be when I go back to campus in the fall. And realistically, brands like to ignore the fact that olive skin people exist who aren't medium, so I have a really hard time finding foundation matches, so I'm totally fine with this not being a thing. My skin's been very well behaved recently, so I don't usually feel like I need extra coverage, and it's not a step of my makeup routine that I enjoy doing, so I'm totally fine just having the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil and leaving it at that for the time being. Moving on to bronzer. This was not a category that I had in my collection at the beginning of the year, but I do like a little bit more warmth. This isn't something that I need as much right now, but I think in the middle of winter when I'm at my palest and greenest, I think it'll be nice to have something to give like a little bit of warmth back to the skin. I have one right now. I'm considering possibly picking up a glowier one at some point in the future, but I've never owned bronzer before, so I want to make sure that I have a better sense of how quickly I actually go through it before I justify purchasing a second one, even though it'll probably be from the drugstore. So I have one right now. This could go up to 2 by the end of the year, but for right now I'm totally fine with this being at 1. Moving on to blush. This is also a category that I would like to cut down a little bit. I do have one in my Project Pan right now. I have no idea how long that'll take to be finished. It is slow going. I'm possibly considering decluttering my Milani Tea Rose at some point. It's a little bit too mauve and it makes me look a little bit greener than I'd like, so that might go at some point, but I started the year off with 4. I am now up to 6, which was sort of my goal and my maximum. So I do have a few more blushes that I would be interested in maybe picking up at some point in the future, but I also don't want to do that until I finish up at least 1 or 2. So I'm happy with this staying at 6. I really don't want to bring anything else in because blushes take so long to go through. I feel like I have my bases covered here. Highlighter is also a problem category. I really enjoy being glowy, but highlighters take so long to go through. Having said that, I started the year off at 9. I am now down to 8. I finished 2, and then I got 1 as a gift with purchase, which I was not able to opt out of, so I have it and I'm trying to use it. So I would like to get this down a little bit more. My goal as of right now is 6 by like roughly the end of the year. I know I can get the Nude Sticks Mini out of the way by the end of the year. I'm pretty sure. Flexitarian, definitely not, but I do want to start working on that at some point. So I would like to cut this down a little bit more and streamline it. I feel like probably 4 realistically at some point in the future is all I need. I know for sure I'm going to be working on the KVD Alchemist next year because I would like to completely finish that palette at some point in the future, so I would like to streamline this a little bit more, but I am happy with where it is for right now. Okay, concealer. So ideally I'd like to have only 1 of these. I have gotten this down from the beginning of the year. I have finished 1, I'm now down at 2. Unfortunately, I bought the Rare Beauty concealer and I really like it, but I also bought a shade that was way too light for me, which taught me a real lesson about trying to shade match myself online. So I did end up having to buy a deeper one to sort of match with it to get something that was closer to my skin tone. So ideally I'd like to finish both of those and then have something that actually matches my skin tone, or as close as I can possibly get. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I would reckon I have probably at least another year on both of these before they're finished, but at some point in the future I would like to just have one concealer. I really don't feel like I need more. This actually has changed a little bit. I started off the year with just the Essence Clear Brow Gel. I have been trying to figure out my brows and I did mess up one of them, so I did end up picking up the ABH Brow Wiz to try to correct that, and I do like a little bit more of a structured brow. So I now have two. I definitely don't feel like I need anything more than this, but I am happy with both of these. Ideally, at some point, I'm going to finish up the ABH Brow Wiz and get something that is a better match to my actual brows. I am apparently not auburn enough for auburn, which is disappointing, but not entirely a surprise. So again, I need to stop shade matching myself online. It has never once worked out well for me. I'm happy with these numbers. I don't feel the need to change them, so this is fine. Alright, so eye bases. So I have finished one and added one, so I'm still at 3 from the beginning of the year. I am going to figure out something with the NYX Jumbo Eye Stick. I'm still using that as an eye base for days where I'm not going anywhere or doing anything, but ideally I would like to finish that up and have it out because I am not really loving that as an eye base, at least for me. So I think going forward I would like to get this down to 2. I've discovered the wonders of glitter primer and it's not something that I want to be without, especially because I do have a lot of formulas that do benefit from it, but it's also not something that I use for everything. So I think going forward I would like to have a glitter primer and a regular primer. 3 is definitely excessive. Sometimes you make stupid purchases and then you have to live with your stupid purchases for a while until you figure out if you're going to finish them, work on them, or get rid of them. Eyeliner has also expanded. I discovered the Melt Gel Liner formula and I am obsessed with it. So I have 2 and then a regular black eyeliner. So I'm now at 3. I wouldn't really want this to get any bigger than it is. I don't know, I kind of want a green, but like, we will see. For right now, this is fine, and I definitely don't need anything else. I feel like this is good. 3 is fine. I do not need an eyeliner in every single color. I have to be realistic. Do I want a green eyeliner? Yes. Am I going to wear one on a regular basis? Probably not. So I have a black, a brown, and like a reddish brown. So I feel like my bases for the most part are covered with things that I wear and things that work on me and my particular skin tone. So mascara I have not updated. I have a Sephora package at the post office, and it's supposed to come with at least 1, maybe 2 mascara minis, so those will be on backup. I really don't need more than 2. I think mascara minis are good value, especially when they're high-end. I generally don't like buying high-end mascaras myself because I feel like you can get something that's almost as good from the drugstore for significantly less money, but if I have the opportunity to get them in mini form for free with a Sephora order, I most definitely will do that. So I'm not sure if they're going to include 1 or 2. Sephora has been kind of weird about including the samples that you actually asked for, so I'm unsure. This might go up to 4, but 2 of them will be on backup until I finish one. I generally don't even like having 2 open at a time. Having said that, I find that with masks, a waterproof mascara is really nice to have because sometimes my mascara will melt off, especially in the winter. So I have currently a waterproof one on the go and a non-waterproof. Ideally, I'd like to only have one on the go, but with these current circumstances, this is fine. So this might end up being 3 or 4, but I will definitely get that down to like 2 by the end of the year. So that's sort of how we're looking for mascaras. Eyeshadow palettes have also changed a little bit. I have purchased 2 more. Well, purchased one was a gift. And so I'm now up from 8 total palettes to 10, which is still feels very reasonable, and like my bases are covered, but you know, I use everything regularly. So I have gone up from 84 total pans of eyeshadow to 108. At the beginning of the year, all of my pans were in the same palette, which was my oldest palette, which is the Tarte Light and Bloom. I decluttered that. Well, I didn't declutter it, I still have it. I'm trying to figure out how to recycle it, so I'm not using it anymore. So that reset my pan percentage back down to 0 in January, and I have now since gotten it up to 14.81, so I have pan on 6 different shadows as of right now, which is pretty fantastic. I'm really happy with that. I don't have a specific goal, but I'm definitely trying to work on things. I have a few that are on the wish list, but I don't anticipate bringing anything else into my collection going forward. I think I've set myself a max of 15, and I'm absolutely nowhere near that, nor do I think I'll be anywhere near that by the end of the year. So I'm happy with this category and where it is. Lip liner is another category that I've eliminated. I will probably delete this from my spreadsheet at the end of the year, but as of right now, I started off the year at 1, I finished that one, and I'm now down to 0. Lip liner is not a category that I feel like I need. I feel like I'm going to repeat this multiple times, but I am a liquid lipstick girl, so I feel like a lip liner is not necessarily with that formula, so I'm definitely fine not having any, and I don't anticipate buying any in the future. So for bullet lipsticks, I started off the year with 2. I still have 2. My goal is 1 or 2. These are different lipsticks than I started the year off with. I have purchased 2 new ones and I finished 2, but I'm happy with where this is. Ideally, I'd like to finish that e.l.f. Sheer Slick and Wild Peach at some point because it is far more pink than the swatches led me to believe it was going to be, but we have 2 and I'm totally fine with this. I like having an option for a comfort matte on days where I'm not going anywhere. Liquid lipsticks has expanded and I would like to get this down a little bit. I started off the year with 4, I am now at 6. I know that I can get Blackberry Sorbet done by the end of the year, and I feel like I could probably finish up Ripe Peach at some point. I feel like I have my bases covered, but I definitely don't need 2 dark vampy lipsticks. So I have a red, a dark one, and then a couple of sort of like nude colors. So I feel like Ripe Peach and Seduction are similar enough that I probably don't need both. So we will see if any of those end up in project pans this year or next year, but for right now, I feel like I have my bases covered. So for lip gloss, this is also another category that I've eliminated and don't plan to reinstate. So I started off the year with 1, I have finished that, and I'm fine with not having any. I'm not a lip gloss girl, don't like getting my hair stuck in it, I don't like the fact that it smears when I drink out of a water bottle. I'm just not really a fan, and I think I mentioned this in my first video too. I play the flute, so if I'm doing that, lip gloss and flute playing are not super compatible, so I'm totally fine with not having a lip gloss. I think I bought one in the fall when I realized that it was an option because I wasn't going anywhere. Now that I will hopefully be going places in the fall, this is not a category that I feel like I need. We've finished our lip gloss, we're not buying any more, and I am totally happy about that. So miscellaneous lip products, I have 2. My Sephora birthday kit did come with a mini of the Laneige lip sleeping mask, and I probably have a couple more months on that. I definitely don't plan to replace it with a full size when I finish it, so I'm fine with just having like a lip balm on the go. For some reason, I'm pretty good at not losing them, so I feel like this is fine. We could get this down to 1 and I would be totally fine with that. Alright, so moving on to nail polish. I kind of miscounted this at the beginning of the year. I didn't count a nail polish that I didn't think that I would be able to revive because it was too thick to use. I ended up getting some nail polish thinner and I was able to revive that and count it towards my total. I finished up 2, almost 3. I'm very close to finishing up a 3rd nail polishes this year, and I anticipate I'll probably have at least 1, if not 2, more empties by the end of the year. And then I have also found one and purchased one, so this category hasn't really changed, although I think that it probably will change a little bit by the end of the year. I would like to get this down to 10, including a base and a top coat. I definitely don't need everything that I have or use everything that I have, but I would like to just streamline this a little bit more so that I really enjoy and use all the colors that I have. We still have some relics that are left over from high school and my earlier 20s when I had slightly different tastes, so I am working on trying to finish those up. I do have a nail polish project pan going on, so I'm about to finish my 3rd one, and then I think I will be able to finish at least probably 2 more by the end of the year, so I think we'll be able to cut this down a little bit more by the end of the year. I don't know if I'll be at my goal of 10 by the end of the year, but the goal is to get there at some point. Hair products. Okay, I'm actually really happy about this one. So I started off the year with 5. I had basically 4 products that were older and or not really suited to my hair type, and so I've managed to finish all of those, and I'm left with 2 products that work for my hair that I selected with my current hair type in mind, and a little bit of a better understanding of hair science and what my hair needs, what works with my hair and what doesn't. So I now have the Garnier Curl Jelly. I am considering possibly getting a harder hold hair gel, but I've only used the curl jelly once, so I want to get a better sense of how it works before I decide to make any decisions there. And then I also have a protein leave-in conditioner, which I don't use every single time I wash my hair, but I use it every once in a while when I feel like my hair needs a little bit of a boost. So I am now at 2. This could go up to 3, but probably not anytime soon, so I'm really happy about this. I've gotten this down a lot, and I had a bunch of products that I just were really old and I wasn't using, and I just felt guilty for still having, but couldn't bring myself to get rid of, so I've managed to use all of those up, and I'm really happy. Things are definitely getting a lot more manageable. My starting total items have had a net decrease of 5, so I've gone from 81 down to 76, and I anticipate a little bit more of a decrease in that by the end of the year. I think I'll probably be able to get down to like the 60s, the low 60s, probably not the 50s, but I feel like the 60s is absolutely possible here. The only thing that has increased is my total items if you include every single pan of eyeshadow in my collection. I have purchased 2 palettes, so that is 24 more pans of eyeshadow. I've gone from 149 up to 172, and I'm not mad about that, so I kind of expected it. So overall, I feel pretty good about the state of my collection. I feel like I have definitely brought in some things, but they're all things that fill in bases and gaps that I didn't already have, and I have managed to eliminate a couple of categories altogether, so I'm really happy about that, and I feel pretty good about where things are, and I think there will probably be a further drop in numbers by the end of the year. Like I said in the intro, I wasn't initially planning on doing an update for this, but I felt like I was looking at my spreadsheet and I felt like it maybe made sense to do a mid-year check-in. So here we are. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Feel free to let me know if you're like tracking yours, how your collection has changed since the beginning of the year. I'm always nosy about other people's demographics. So if you haven't already subscribed and you want to see more beauty videos from me, I upload new videos once or twice a week. I aim for Tuesdays and Saturdays. I've not been great about that recently, but at least 1 new video a week. And yeah, hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!